Hi, this is Josh. Hello. Hello, this is Josh.
This is Angie.
Hey, Angie. You're smarter than I am. I'm an old guy.
Oh, you're fine.
So was it the different link that was the problem?
I don't know. This one gave me access like right away. The other link, it only says that it's gonna start soon, but it never starts.
Got it. Okay. It's just you and I so far, so we'll see who else joins.
I think what's his name? Andy, Andrew, the other guy that was messaging.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm using my phone, so let's see. Did anyone else join?
Nope, just you and I so far.
Should we give them like maybe 5 more minutes?
Yeah, give him a couple more minutes, and then you and I can just get going.
Okay, that works.
I don't have my webcam up because I've got my two monitors open. I have my laptop closed. I guess I can do my webcam.
I'm just using my phone and the camera just goes, so I don't often know.
Got it.
Where do you live?
I live in Idaho.
Oh, we're in Idaho.
I'm in Idaho Falls.
Okay, I'm in Rexburg.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Where are you from?
I'm from Colombia.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I grew up in Driggs, Idaho, if you know where Driggs is, up by the Grand Tetons.
Yes. Yes. Cool.
Yeah, so I've lived all over, and I'm back here. So I'm older. I went to school years and years ago. I had
Okay.
20 credits left, and I started
Wow.
working, and right now it does me no good to get a degree, but I have 4 kids, and I just don't want them to ever use the excuse, hey, dad didn't get his degree and he did fine.
Oh.
So anyway, so I
Okay.
just started back. So I'm very green to the online school because I only have, in fact, last semester was my first semester back, so I'm very green to the online school. But I've
Okay,
been,
so this is your second one.
this is my second one, yeah. But again, what's funny is I read and go through all this stuff, and I'm like, I do this business stuff every day. So I sell software to large healthcare systems across the country. So I travel a lot for work.
Okay.
I talk to C-level people across big organizations. So I kind of deal with this stuff day in, day out. But again, I just need to get that piece of paper. So
Yes. That's very amazing that you're doing this for your kids. I
yeah,
think
it's
that's
good.
very cool.
Yeah, I mean, again, it does me no good for work and where I'm at. But I'm so close. I might as well get the piece of paper, you know.
Mhm. Yeah.
How about you? What's your story?
This is my last semester, so I'm taking 21 credits. So my last 21, my last 21 credits.
So what are you going to go
And
do?
so I'm a construction management and architecture major, and I want to be an architect. So after this, I want to do my master's in architecture. My husband is also from the same program, but he graduated about a year ago. So
Got it. Are you guys
he's
planning on leaving
working.
Rexburg then when you're done?
He's actually working in Utah, so we're already apart.
Oh no.
But we're I go every weekend or he comes every weekend. We kind of switch back and forth. And I don't really know where I'm going. I have an offer with a company in Texas, and I really like this company, so maybe I'll go to Texas with my
We're at in
husband
Texas.
in Houston.
Oh, I go to Houston a lot. I've got a lot of big clients in Houston. We're at in
Houston's very
Houston.
nice. It's in downtown Houston.
Okay. Have you
Yeah.
been to Houston?
So I interned for that company
Oh, okay.
this past winter, so that's how I got the job. I haven't said yes yet. I'm waiting for the formal offer to be sent so I can sign and all this stuff. But like I told you, I don't know. I'm just kind of go with the flow and see where God wants me to go.
Okay. Yeah, so all the big hospitals down in Houston, they're all my clients. So I go down and
Wow,
visit them
that is
often.
so
So it's good.
cool.
Yeah, good times. Well, I'm
Yeah,
guessing
there's
no
like
one's
hospitals
joining.
everywhere.
Oh, there are.
Okay,
Should we just get started?
sure, let's do it because I do have to go at before 7.
Okay, that's fine. So as far as the group discussion, I'm just going to go through the agenda. So on the Mary Griffin at Derby Foods, invite someone to offer a prayer. Okay. Angie, would you like to offer a prayer to get started?
I love to say it. Heavenly Father, we are so grateful that we have this chance to meet as a group and talk about our business class. Father, bless us with thy spirit that we can be inspired and that we can learn from each other. And we humbly pray for these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Okay, so again, I'm a rookie to this, but going over the instructions, as far as a quick synopsis of the case, we're going over Mary and her dealings at Derby Foods. And I don't know if you read through the Mary Griffin case, but essentially Simon York,
Yes.
his behavior was interesting with a few other groups. He called and yelled at a group that was releasing some items, and
Yes.
they came and spoke to Mary and said, Mary, this is a problem. You need to take care of it. But obviously Simon was a good employee and does a lot of good stuff. So that's kind of where we're at. So, okay.
Yes.
So as far as the actual, questions itself, what's really going on with the case? What did you think the root problems were?
Well, I think that what's his name? York. That's his last name, right?
Simon York. Yep.
Simon. Okay. Simon. He got his position because of his abilities. I mean, the guy's good. That's why he's there, and he replaced someone that was there that retired. So that also tells me that he must be very, very good at what he does. So maybe for the company, it was like, oh, we need this guy here, and no one else can replace him because of who he is and what he does. And so maybe that was just an assumption that they did too quick. I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the conclusions that I get from it. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think there's a couple of root problems. One of the biggest problems is where Simon's true motivation is. I read a book years ago, and it talks about how we deceive ourselves into thinking everyone else around us is the problem, and we don't have any issues or problems. We feel like everybody else is the one that's messing things up. And I feel like that's part of his thing is he's really eager to blame other people instead of looking at what's he doing, how can he help, how can he work as a group versus he thinks he's the man and other people just aren't quite as good as him. So I think that's kind of where I think he's coming from as far as his problems go.
I think someone just joined us.
Yes, I did. Sorry about that.
All good. Ashley, is that you?
Yes, that's me.
I'm Josh Kuntz. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Josh.
Where are you at, Ashley?
I am in California.
We're out in California.
Rancho Cucamonga.
Okay. I've got to go down there on Monday. I have to go to the Bay Area. I travel a lot for work. I sell software to big health systems. So Kaiser Permanente is a big client of mine. I'm going to meet with the University of California, their entire system. Anyways, I won't be down in your area, but.
Gotcha. Well, that's fun.
Yeah, it's good times.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, you guys can hear me this time. This is like the 12th time I've tried it.
I'm just glad we have more people. It was Angie and I talking to each other, so we're glad to have more people in.
I totally saw it. I could hear you guys, and I kept talking. I could hear you, but it's like you couldn't hear me or see me, and so I'm like, okay, this isn't working.
Well, good. Well, we were just getting started. We actually just went through the first one, which is the root problem. So we're just getting started. So again, feel free to chime in and to jump in what's going on. So let's go to the next one. How should Mary Griffin respond to the situation with Simon? Anybody?
I think she definitely needs to confront him, but maybe do it in a way where she praises him at first and then kind of comes in like, but we have this problem. That way, he's very boasted. He's like, oh, cool. I'm doing really good. And then all of a sudden she's like, we need to correct a problem that you're having.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so I've actually seen this. I was telling Angie, I'm older, so I've been in the business field for years, and I've kind of seen how this works, where somebody thinks they are doing everything right, and everybody else is messing up, and something happens. So she definitely has to get involved, but it's all about how she handles it.
Yes, exactly.
And I honestly, I'll bet Simon doesn't know he is causing a problem. I bet if you asked Simon and said, "Hey, Simon, do you think you're being a jerk here?" He would say, "Absolutely not. I'm in the right." So I mean, a lot of it's a matter of getting him to see, like, buddy, you're good at your job, but you got to help other people out. So I think that's true.
No,
you can be better at
that's
your job if you treat people with respect, type of thing.
Agreed. Cool. Anything else?
No, I think that's good.
All right. So the next one, should Griffin have corrected Simon the first time there was a problem after he criticized his team in front of everyone? Because if you remember on the case, they were doing a big presentation and he was kind of doing the snide remarks on the side, a little passive aggressive. Should she have said something then?
I think she should have, because like I feel like getting away with it, the more you get away with it, the less of a problem that you think it is. And so he'll be like, well, I do this all the time. Why is it a problem now? Like, why not eliminate it right from the beginning?
That's good. No, I agree. She should have nipped it then instead of letting it keep going. Because who knows how many other times he's done it, and he's thought that it was okay.
Mm-hmm. It's the same, I guess, Josh, with your kids. If you do that to your kids, if one of them starts being mean to the others and you don't say anything, then the others are gonna come and be like, "Dad, why didn't you say anything?" So it applies. It applies the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a matter of undermining other people to get ahead. You know, and you know, bringing people down to boost yourself up. It's hard sometimes, you know, when you're actually in this, because a lot of times from a leader perspective, it's hard to see what everybody else is doing and where their mistakes are and what are their challenges. And, you know, maybe from her perspective, she thought, okay, I want to see how this goes and see how he handles it, because he's a manager as well. So he needs to be able to manage conflict and deal with it. So maybe she didn't do it because she was waiting to see if he could handle it. And now clearly it didn't happen, but I think you could kind of go either way.
I think that's a good point.
I think also Mary is intimidated by him because he's so good at what he does. So she's like, I don't want to say anything, even though she's like over him in management, I guess. And she's just like, I just don't want to say anything.
Yeah.
Well, and it's hard too with your top performers. I mean, if your top performers are doing well, it's hard to come in and say, "Hey, top performer, you need to change." And he could say,
a good point.
"I'm a top performer."
And he could be offended.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's a top performer. So again, it comes down to handling the situation correctly. But good. Okay, and we've kind of talked about this already, but give an example of a situation where you were given poor correction. What were the results? How did it affect you? So this is back on, you know, personal experiences. Anytime you guys were given poor correction, all three of you seem very young, so maybe you haven't.
Well, at work, so I just got back from an internship in Texas. I was telling Josh, and my mentor used to say all the time, "Oh, you're doing great, Angie, great, you're so good, this and that." And then of course, like you're not perfect, so you're like, "No, I know I have some flaws and stuff like that." And then my manager, that's over my mentor, he gave me a phone call. He said, "Angie, you're doing great." And then he started just saying all the things that I was doing wrong. And then I realized, wow, then I wasn't really doing as good as my mentor was saying. My manager was brave enough to call me, and he wasn't like rude or anything. He said, "Angie, this is for you to get better and stuff." And then at the end, I was able to improve. And then at the end of my internship, everything was better than before. So I was grateful that he did that.
Got it. Anybody else?
Or I think maybe even not given correction at all. Like you've done something and you thought maybe it needed correction, but you weren't given any. So lack of correction too. I know that's probably happened a few times.
Yes.
I think that's been my biggest one, is a lack of correction. Because like I've worked in a bank since I was 14. And there have been
Wow.
times where I'll be like doing something, and then someone will say something to me, and they're like, "Oh, you're not supposed to do it that way." And I'm like, "I've been doing it that way for 6 years." And they're like, "Oh, someone should have said something before now." And I'm like, "Well, great. Now I have to change from something I've been doing since I learned it," type
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah,
And
so I have, yeah, that's a good point too, is, you know, that's kind of scary at the same time where someone's like, oh, you're doing it wrong, but you're like, but everyone else has been telling me I'm doing it right. So which is it? Is it wrong? Is it right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I find myself in Mary's position a lot. So I work in a law firm. I manage like some of the girls there, the employees there, and I find myself having to give them correction, and sometimes it is intimidating because I'm so young and they're a lot older than I am, and having to tell them like, oh, look, what you're doing is wrong, and they're looking at me like, what do you know? You're so young. So that could be an intimidation thing too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to manage, and I've worked for a lot of people, and some people are more aggressive, some people are more step back, but it comes down to, I think, kind of what you guys were talking about. It's education. You've got to be willing to step in and train and help, you know, but you've got to do it with caring and love. If you're a manager and your employees hate you or don't respect you, it's pretty hard to get them to do things. And I think that's the challenge with Simon is he may be really good at his job and really good at what he does, but it sounds like he's a pretty poor manager because I doubt if he asked his people to do special things that they would step it up because they're like, buddy, I don't know who you think you are. You put me down, you make me look bad. Why would I try to help you? Whereas I've worked for people that you can tell that they genuinely care about you and want you to succeed. And obviously you kind of put a little more effort into it. So perfect.
Yeah, I think he was creating kind of an us versus them environment type of thing, or them versus him with the way he was acting, where they're like, okay, well, I don't want to help him out because of the way he treats me.
Yep. Got it. Well, what about a time when you received good correction that motivated you to improve? Has that happened?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Well, let's hear it, Ashley.
I mean, it could even just be little things. So I have a fear of like speaking in front of people. And so it's like once a week we have to have these office meetings and they put me in charge, and I would always like stutter and like freak out and not let them speak. So I've had to learn like through improvement, like calm down, take a deep breath, let them put in their opinion. Don't get upset if you don't agree with it. Don't get upset with it if it doesn't make sense. So I'm just taking it like that.
I think that whenever I get told that I'm doing the right thing, I think that whenever I get told that I'm doing the right thing, I get more motivated to keep doing it. So that's another thing. Motivation.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
I mean, as humans, we live off of, you know, praise at times. And I mean, again, if you're working in a positive environment, then you're more apt to be a better employee. One company I worked in, I worked for a manager that he was always doling out negative criticism, and it was hard to really focus on things. And you know, I'd come in and I hated going to work because I'm like, man, all I'm going to do is get bashed on by this guy. But then I worked for a guy right after that who I really liked. He was one of those to where if he didn't agree with you, he would bring it up, you would talk about it, you'd figure it out, but he would work with you to figure it out and fix it, and then work with you to improve it and move forward. So it was more of a partnership versus I'm your boss, you're below me, you do what I say.
That's nice to have that too, because that makes you feel, you know, like that you're so important and what you're doing is right, but allowing for some improvement.
Yeah. That's kind of how my supervisor is now, is that like she's constantly like, as soon as I learn one thing, she's like, okay, I'm going to teach you how to do this next, like constantly allowing me to grow. I think that's a really important thing.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. So what about culture? So culture in a company is pretty important, whether it's a negative culture, whether it's a positive culture, whether it's a culture of, doing the right thing. So what does the culture feel like at Derby Foods from what you guys have seen?
That's a good question.
I think.
I feel.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Alex. Go ahead.
Oh, I think that it's like it was a positive thing, like they were moving up so quickly and everything was going well, but that it's like going back down because someone that is in such like an important and influential position is creating an environment where people don't want to be with the way he's treating them at times. And so I don't know.
I think that's good. Ashley, what were you going to say?
Yeah, it could sometimes even be a hostile environment. Maybe people in the company are becoming afraid of Simon and they don't want to go to him for help and they're trying to avoid him at all costs. Which goes back to what Alex said, people aren't wanting to be there because they're afraid of him, afraid of his reaction, afraid of what he's going to do when he becomes upset.
Good. Yeah, as far as culture goes, so I sell the software I sell, and I work with compliance departments, and that's one of their big focuses on the compliance side is what's the culture like? Is it a positive culture? Is it a culture where people feel like it's a team, or is it negative? Is it backstabbing? And a bad culture can be just poisonous because it spreads.
Mm-hmm.
Because you think if let's say Simon starts negativity on his side, then his team is going to be gossiping and causing problems. And then that's going to spread to other people. And it can really take the culture down. So, a lot of times we think, oh, well, one person can't really, make that big of a difference either way. But I would probably say that's the exact opposite. One person can really help to drive a good culture or take it the opposite way. So what do you think Mary's role is in establishing the culture?
I think she's the manager, or like the overseer, so she should be the one in charge of correcting problems. But
she has to set the standard. Probably she has to set the standards, set the bar high, so people can know what their goals are, their ethic goals are.
Yeah.
A lot of it is consistency. Kind of to you guys, your points before when he kind of belittled his employees in front of everybody. She should have said something then and corrected something then. Whereas now, after the fact, when it came up again, now she's stepping in, and a lot of times consistency is a big thing. I mean, it's like with your children. It's like in anything. It's got to be consistent with how you deal with things. Otherwise, people are going to push their, how far can I go before I get in trouble, or how far before I have to go talk to Mary. So I think consistency is a big part of it.
Well,
yeah, they could maybe.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, I think maybe because she's let it go on, that's why it's such a big deal, and they have to have like a full-on meeting about it. If she had just handled it right from the beginning, it could have been hey, can I talk to you for a second? And it would have taken 10 seconds to say, hey, we need to conduct ourselves in a more professional manner and treat others with respect, blah, 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 et cetera. Like, it didn't need to be as big of a deal as it was.
Good.
That's good. That's like what I was going to say.
All right, perfect. So what is staying on culture? What would be Simon's role then in establishing or maintaining the culture?
I think if Simon would be, if Simon takes his advice from Mary positively and everything, that he should, that definitely the company needs to keep him. But if he reacts in a negative way, saying, "Well, you don't know what you're talking about. I do this. You don't know how to do that," then Simon is not doing the right thing, and then Mary can make a decision and say, "Okay, well, Simon, then I think we need to talk about your position in the company and everything." So he definitely has to at least show humility and accept. Maybe if he doesn't agree with it, at least accept with respect, and then take it from there.
Good. Anybody else?
No.
The thing I would say is, I mean, if you are an employee of a company, it is your responsibility to establish and maintain culture. The company can train and educate, but it's on you. I mean, so I was reading 7 Habits for Highly Effective People. Obviously, we all are. And the thing that stood out to me is Covey was talking about a hotel where this hotel just ran unbelievably well, and all the way from the maids to the people who are cleaning. It talks about a guy up washing windows who he saw a lady on with a walker having struggles with it. He climbed down the ladder, helped that lady get in, then climbed back up and started washing windows. So obviously
Wow.
The culture at the hotel was focused on we serve, but it went from the bottom all the way to the top, because a lot of times, especially if you're client facing, the person talking to the client at that moment is what that client thinks your culture is. So you could have a fantastic culture, but if that one person is showing a negative feed off of it, that can cause problems. I was actually working on that today. I have a big client that's really frustrated with one of our implementers. They're implementing the software right now, and I had a conversation with the client, and they basically said, we don't feel comfortable talking with him. And all I could keep thinking was, even though our company is one of the best companies out there, everybody loves us, this company right now thinks we are terrible. And the reason they think we are terrible is because of this one employee. And so again, I think Simon's role is he has a responsibility, whether he's a manager, whether he's an employee, whether he's sweeping the floors, to maintain and establish that culture and continue it going.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like he's an eye of the company, and people probably look up to him. So he needs to live up to that.
Yeah, for sure.
Good. Any other things to get into as far as how Mary should approach the discussion, or any other key items that she needs to cover, and any other comments on, that part of it?
I can't think of any.
No, I think we talked about all the points and yeah, I think we're good.
Okay. Last thing I'll bring up is another one. It says, name 2 principles that stood out to you the most from the feedback workshop. How will you apply them?
From the feedback workshop.
I'm guessing that's this. Is that what this is?
Okay.
No, it was that. Remember we had that Harvard presentation that we reviewed?
Oh,
Yeah.
is that one it? Okay, yeah, got
so
it.
I'm guessing it comes from there.
Oh, okay, I remember.
I think from that, the thing that stuck with me the most was like the parts that talked about not telling them what you did, but like what the impact of their actions. I liked that, so that way, to me, that just brought out more of a like they can see what they have done, instead of just saying, "Oh, this happened, but it's not that big of a deal. Nothing happened." Like they can see the effects of their actions.
It pointed out there was 4 steps. I'm trying to find it. Oh, there's 4 steps to identify. So it's identifying specific behavior, state the impact, use caution, and to be direct. And I like those. I think that's a good way to help correct the issue.
So while you're bringing that up, where it says be direct, why is being direct important?
You don't want to go off pace and bring them in and maybe start talking about, this issue. And before you know it, you're talking about his kids and the vacation he's taking during the summer. Like, stick to it and be direct and just focus on what you brought him in there for. And it also helps for someone to understand the importance of the action when you're just focusing on that one thing.
Yeah, and as far as that being direct, in the business field, you can't mince words. You really have to get to the point, because otherwise that person could take what you say completely differently. So you may come in with hey, you're doing really well, and then you come with a backhanded, but you need to improve on this, and maybe that person only focuses on the, hey, they think I'm doing really well. I'm going to keep going how I'm going.
I'm doing it. Yeah, that's true.
So being direct, where it's like, this is how it is. You're a fantastic employee. I really appreciate how you're doing things. The way you do your work is amazing. You're one of our top performers. Here are a couple of things you need to focus on. Your team looks up to you. You're a leader. I need you to step up and be that leader. And again, be really direct and assertive, but again, with that kindness and loving, to where you really care that they will succeed, versus I'm here to cut you down like you just cut down your other employees.
That's good. I like that. That's good insight.
Okay. I am looking through a few other things. Okay, so as far as the group leaders go, we'll want to sign up for the leaders for the rest of the semester.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do we just want to go, do we have anybody else in our group, or is it just us four?
There's one more person, but their email address is blocked by the school server. So
and I'm probably guessing because she typed it wrong or something. So it's probably that's not her
and it's
address
blocked.
or something.
Like, I looked and it's so I have no idea, and I double checked and it's spelled how they spelt it. So maybe
they have access to the Google Sheet. So if the person wants to contact us, our emails are there.
Yeah.
So they should have a hold of us.
I was also thinking of maybe just going through the class list and reaching out to them through their BYUI email and seeing if they get back.
Too. We could do that.
Yeah, so I'll get this link then and I'll post it out. And then if we just want to, have you guys seen that sheet then to sign up for the group leader sign up?
I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
Oh, I haven't looked at it. Maybe Ashley, do you think you could be the leader next week?
Yeah, I can do it. Do you want me to put this in a Google Doc so that way you guys can sign up for weeks? Because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 9 weeks, so 10. There's 10 weeks or 9 weeks total.
Yeah, that's perfect. Go ahead and do that. Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, I'll go ahead and do that. But I'll do it next week so that way everybody knows.
Perfect. Got it. Okay. Well, I think we're good. Anything else anybody wants to add or chime in or discuss?
No, I think that's it.
No, I think we're good. I like our team.
Perfect.
You too.
It's nice to meet everybody. Glad all's well, and I'll submit this out. And great to start working with you ladies.
Thanks. Have a good week, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah,
bye, everyone.
Bye.